is Acton Leadership Academy a charter school? No, we are not. If you're just starting to look into non-traditional education, I'm sure you will find a lot of charter school options around, and I think it is fantastic. I love the opportunity for there to be charter schools and to have lots of different kinds of schools around. My youngest daughter attended a charter school before we moved to Texas, and she had a great experience. It was definitely traditional, more traditional than we do now, that's for sure. But overall, it was an excellent experience. So, charter schools have a charter from the government. So, they turn in a kind of proposal for what kind of school they're going to be, and then the government grants them money to run this school. And so there's an option in the area that is not the public school, but it is publicly funded. It's funded by the government. So that's the main reason that we are not, and we can't say we're a charter school because we're not. We do not take government funding. So then sometimes people, they ask what our tuition is, and we try to be very upfront about that. If you need current tuition rates, you can just look under the frequently asked questions. Try to give you all the financial questions right there to answer before you get too far down this rabbit hole. But I just have some thoughts about tuition and the charging of tuition. One of the most incredible books I think I've ever read is called Think and Grow Rich. And it's really not so much about growing rich. That's just one way that the book emphasizes and explains that these certain principles of good living, if you follow them, then you will be successful. And that's one way that they illustrate that if you follow the principles, you'll be successful, because they can quantify them through dollars. But even if you don't want to get rich, you should read this book, because it is life-changing and so influential for me and our team and everyone I know that's read it. But in this book, the author, Napoleon Hill, it was written a long time ago, he warns about free education because and I'll get this all wrong, but basically breeds mediocrity, and it takes away the value that is there. The value that learning brings to us as humans is something that should be paid for, is his assertion. And now that I'm in the world I'm in now, I can see in a lot of cases that our society, our children and parents, are not taking advantage of the incredible resources that are being expended in education in America. And there is a lot of resources and a lot of wonderful people, but it doesn't have value because we haven't given it value. So he says that education should be paid for, shouldn't be free. And that's a really interesting concept to think about how it impacts our society, that there is tuition. So my little thing I want to say is, if public schools aren't free either. When we started the school, we looked up in our area, the cost of educating one student per year was about $8,500. And that was what we used for a baseline to set our original tuition. So that we are paying for that. You are paying every year for your child to go to school. So the idea that it's free is actually not true. And I just encourage people that are in the weeds with me on this to realize the school down the road is not free. You're paying for it. Now, if you realize that you're paying whatever you're paying for it, and you quantify, am I getting from this what I'm paying for? I don't know what your answer will be. You might be getting a really high quality education for what you're paying. The value might be there. My sense is, if we realize we're already putting X amount into our child's education, then it might just be worth investing some more, where we can see an outcome from our investment that matches what we want. So that's one way of looking at every school costs. You are paying. Are you getting your money's worth? Now, you might decide, it's just kind of like, it's economics. You might decide to buy organic food, you're going to pay more for it, but it's worth it to you because you're getting the benefits associated with organic food. Where someone else might be like, I'm fine with what I'm paying for this less expensive food. It delivers the value that is there for me. In a similar, although maybe strange way, it's the same with anything else. Any government provided service we're already paying for. Recognize that is a cost already going in. If you put more in for a different product, are you going to get what you want for life? So, and talking about economics and money and tuition, I just want to add another maybe couple thoughts. The costs are not only financial, they're not only economic. No matter where you go to school, the people that you go to school with influence and impact who you will become. And so if you think about that as part of the cost you're figuring for the school you're choosing, you may start to see a shift in what holds your value. And strictly financially speaking, it's commonly quoted that your income will likely match the 3 to 5 people that you spend the most time with. And so if we're thinking about how we set our children up for real world success, then the people they spend their time with and they're talking with and sharing mindsets with and conversations will absolutely impact the way they see the world and work in the world. So again, please don't misunderstand what I'm saying. I'm just saying what I'm saying. That is every aspect of the education that you're choosing delivering the value that will help your child become who they're meant to be? Those are questions for you to answer. The costs are not strictly economic. Almost every application I get from a family working to transition out of a traditional setting reports anxiety and a dislike of school. Now, that might be why they're looking for another school. Granted, they're on the hunt for something different, but it's almost without exception. And so as you're making this vital decision, not just to attend Acton, but what school you want to partner with to raise your child, please consider the mental, emotional, physical, psychological, spiritual impact of the environment you choose. I didn't even say academic, because this is one of those topics that we can set that aside because it's going to be all over the map anyway. And every school will probably deliver an okay academic education to your child. And it really all comes back to them anyway, of what they decide to move forward and learn. That's another video. We can choose something of less value at great expense because it's free or cheap. It's not free. Because it feels like the cheaper option. We have seen miracles happen when a parent decides they want something different for their child and that they see there's enough value there to figure it out. That's how anything in the world changes, is we decide something has enough value for us to bring that into our life. So very rarely can someone not afford a school, our school, that we've priced, at least right now, our tuition is about what the public school charges you. Obviously, you have to pay on top of that, but up to $20,000 less than other private schools in the area. So I don't know what I was saying. I think I was just saying that no one ever doesn't buy something because they can't afford it. They don't buy it because they don't see the value that it has. And if something holds enough value, you will make it work. You will figure it out. Acton may or may not be that place. It was for our family, and ongoingly I see the value it delivers We haven't even talked about the value that it delivers in potential not paying for a crazy expensive college in the future, or doing it in the most efficient and effective way for your child to be successful. That could be scholarships, that could be having apprenticeships and real work experience in a job that pays more than just a minimum wage job because they're prepared for it and they've been practicing for it. Like, we're not even talking about those academic benefits, even though I just talked about them, just talking about purely the numbers and the value. Choose a school that brings value to your family. And don't let it get down to the numbers and cents that feel like it should be the deciding factor. Don't let it be that. Because I know and promise we can work it out if Acton is what you choose, and you will figure it out if it holds the value to do so. There you go. Might be some editing on this one, but I hope you have a good day. Oh, if you want to learn more about the school, come visit us. If you want to see if it has the value that you're hoping for, if what we offer will provide to your family, what is most important to you, then come to an introduction meeting or sign your child up for a visit day. That's the next step after the introduction meeting, and you'll know. And we don't want you to come if we don't offer the value that makes sense for your family.